Hi, I'm Charlie. Welcome to Campfire Kitchen. Today we are going to be making an array of recipes from pizza to enchiladas and an au gratin. And then I have a special guest coming, Cécile from France, who will make one of her specialties. So let's get started. The theme for today is to prepare all of our ingredients so we have them ready during the week to make all sorts of different dishes. We're going to start by making a sourdough, which we can use throughout the week to make pizza bases, sourdough bread, and cinnamon rolls. I use biodynamic organic flour because it really adds to the taste. I use atta, barley, wholemeal, and white. So we put in some flour and then add a bit of nice, beautiful sea salt. Now you'll notice I don't measure because it's easier just to get a feel for what it should look like. It's so easy anyway. I've added that, and then I'm going to pour in some rainwater to dissolve the salt and mix it around. And then I'll add some beautiful local olive oil. Using fresh and local just makes everything taste better. Mix that up. Starting by making it a bit wet makes it really easy to work with. And you don't even have to get your hands dirty. This is called a starter, which is used instead of chemical yeast. This is literally organic rye flour and rainwater mixed into a paste which ferments naturally. I just leave this in the refrigerator so that it doesn't ferment too quickly. But then once you take it out of the refrigerator, in a little bit it will be bubbling. And then every time you use it, you need to just add a little more flour, again rye flour, and water. And then just mix it up, and that goes right back into the refrigerator until the next time. You should probably feed it every couple of days. Now here you can see it's a bit dry. I like to leave it wetter, so I'm just going to add some more water. So just making it, and you'll be able to see it bubble up in no time. And there you have it, bubbling up. So this has been active for probably 6 years now, this one, by just doing exactly what I'm doing. Every time I make bread or pizza dough, then I take some out and add some, and that is my yeast. There's no chemical yeast included. So then you can mix this up. And this one I actually did quite wet, which is okay because you can always add more flour easier. For making a ciabatta or Turkish bread or bagels, you just use a wetter mixture anyway. Alright, so after that's been mixed up and around, again, sometimes it's not quite as thin, but it doesn't matter. Now there's a few little herbs I have in there, just some herbs from the garden. I think there's a bit of rosemary and sage in this one. It's nice to add a little flavor here and there. We're just going to cover this now, and then we'll set it aside while we continue our other preparation. So I'm just finishing here chopping up all of my vegetables that I'm going to use for the week. I like to use fresh and local and cooking by colors, actually, because the food tastes better with different colors. Okay, the ingredients we have for the week are capsicum. We've got red, green, and yellow. We've got some broccoli and cauliflower, including the stems. You can use the stems, peel them a little bit, and just chop them up nicely. You know, they're actually really good even raw. And there's some pan-fried eggplant, some fresh cut herbs, cherry tomatoes, We've got onion. I've got Spanish onion and white onion. We've got thinly sliced potatoes. We've got some marinated olives, some smoked ham, chorizo, shredded mozzarella and cheddar, also some beans and tomato sauce. And to top it off, we also have some sheep's feta and some garlic in olive oil. The first thing we're going to make is a pizza. We'll start with the dough. Now I've got my mixture here of flour and water and olive oil and salt, and then we'll get plenty of flour on the table. Now what I do, it's a little bit of cheating, but especially when you're cooking in the outside where it could be windy and bugs, I'll pre-bake the dough. Let me find my spatula. Here we go. And we'll just pour this dough right on out onto the board, using plenty of flour. So it is pretty runny, almost like a slurry for all you tradies out there. So I'm working my dough by just doing the same thing, adding plenty of flour, and you can see and you'd be able to feel that it doesn't stick to your fingers as much. And if it does stick to your fingers, well, just get some flour and rub your fingers in them. It's okay to get them dirty. It's really nice to play in, actually. It's Play-Doh. Okay. Now I've been kneading it probably for 3 to 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, and it starts to really get silky. If it stretches and starts to rip, you know you've pretty much come as far as you need to with the kneading. Now it can rest. And then I'm just going to break down and make just little chunks that you can make into a ball, and that will be your pizza base. Well, it doesn't matter what size they are. We'll just knead this a little bit more. Make sure it's not wet on the inside, using plenty of flour. And now we're going to roll out a dough and do a quick pre-bake of it, so it makes it much easier. You can actually pre-bake the doughs and then freeze them with a bit of paper towel in between, and you make 4 or 5 or 10, put them in a baggie and freeze them. So again, plenty of flour, and you just flatten it down, and if it starts to stick, then make sure you have flour on your rolling pin. You can use almost anything as a rolling pin. You can also stretch it out with your hands. There's many different methods. Okay, so we've got our pizza base right there. You're just going to put that in for about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how hot your oven is. But you always know when it starts to bubble, then we'll just turn it over for just a few seconds and we'll have a pre-baked pizza dough. It can also be used as a wrap if you want to make a burrito wrap. You can just see it starting to bubble. So you take it out and I just turn it over, put it in for another 10 seconds. And now it's not going to be stretching anymore and ready for a pizza base. And now we have a couple of our pizza bases and we're going to make pizza. So a nice spoonful of beautiful tomato sauce. I make my own tomato sauce when I get the beautiful tomatoes in season, and stew the tomato sauce, and if you have it in the freezer, it will last in the freezer for quite a while. Now, letting the kids do their own is also a good thing, because then they eat it. They're involved and they make it the way they like it. Now, I just use a little bit of cheese. This one will make a beautiful ham and cherry tomato as opposed to pineapple, but either way, but they're nice and sweet. And add a little bit of color with a few onions and some herbs. This one will be some nice spicy chorizo. And some feta cheese. And a few herbs. Et voila! And these will only take just a couple of minutes to cook. Again, it depends on how hot of an oven you have. Okay, and here are the pizzas. Too easy. So everybody, buon appetito per pizza!